Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, welcome to Week in Nintendo. Every Saturday I like to go back through the past week's biggest headlines so you can get all caught up on all things Nintendo. If you're new here and you like these weekly news rundowns, as well as the occasional game or accessory review, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything happening with the channel. And with all that out of the way, let's go through this week's Nintendo news. On Monday, we learned from Silicon Era that Nintendo had recently filed a patent back in July of 2019 for a Switch stylus of sorts that connects to the Joy-Con rail. Now, this device maybe looks a bit unwieldy to use, but it does appear to allow for some pretty ingenious functionality, with patent diagrams showing on-screen elements being felt through the Joy-Con's HD rumble, as well as the stylus input being manipulated in real time with the press or hold of a button. And you can see in one of the patent illustrations someone drawing a line across the Switch screen, and then that line gets thicker as they press and hold a button without needing to lift the stylus and navigate away to a menu for a thicker brush stroke. So really clever idea, classic Nintendo, but I do wonder, with the release of Mario Maker 2 already behind us, if this patent, like many other Nintendo patents, will actually ever see the light of day. Although we did see that patent for the multiple switch screen functionality pop up in April of 2018, and then saw it implemented only 6 months later in the launch trailer for Super Mario Party. So this will be an interesting one to keep an eye on, since I could certainly see it leading to some really inventive and interesting gameplay mechanics, especially since the Switch's touchscreen has been pretty underutilized so far. On Tuesday, a PEGI listing for Mortal Kombat Collection Online surfaced, pointing to a release across all consoles and PC. And this isn't the first time we've heard about this collection, but it was reportedly canceled back in April of last year. But this new information certainly makes it seem like the project is still active, or at least taken over by another team, with us getting a new screenshot and a short description that reads, "Mortal Kombat Collection Online is the original Mortal Kombat trilogy that Mortal Kombat fans always wanted. Upgraded art, gameplay, and online features provide an incredible experience that revive the classics." That sounds pretty great to me. I grew up playing these games over at friends' houses on Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, so I'll definitely be checking this collection out if this listing is indeed the real deal. On Tuesday, Killer Queen Black, the wildly popular arcade game that made its way to Switch in October of last year, saw a widely requested update that finally brought 8-player local play to the Switch version, a mode that fans of the game were very sad to see missing upon launch. Previously, for 8-player local play, you needed 2 Switches with a copy of the game on each Switch, but with this update, that's no longer the case, and that's great news. The game is also currently on sale for 50% off, bringing the cost down to $9.99, with that sale price being available through February 2nd of 2020. So if you've been keeping an eye on this one but haven't picked it up yet, now would be the time to do it. I just did myself, and don't forget about those gold points either, because they do expire at the end of the year, and when all was said and done, I was able to pick this one up for $3 and some change, so now I just need to focus on not being so terrible at it. On Wednesday, we learned that Nintendo had won their ongoing court case in Germany regarding their eShop practices when it comes to cancellations and refunds. Back in 2018, both the Norwegian Consumer Council and the German Consumer Protection Authority took issue with Nintendo's practice of not allowing customers to cancel digital pre-orders prior to the game's release, and deemed this illegal under European law. Now, both councils have appealed the court's decision, but this will likely just lead to further years of deliberation. So, unfortunately, this just seems like a fairly anti-consumer policy on Nintendo's part. Sure, there could be some nuance to the decision that we're not fully aware of, and I do recommend checking out Arlo's video on the matter. I'll leave that link in the description below, because he does bring up one point of defense for Nintendo regarding pre-order bonuses, where theoretically a customer could take advantage of a pre-order bonus offer by pre-ordering the game, claiming the pre-order bonus, and then immediately asking for a refund and getting that bonus for free. But that certainly seems like a rare case and hardly worth Nintendo implementing these policies over. In much happier news, on Wednesday we learned that Animal Crossing New Horizons would be getting a journal pre-order bonus from Target, with no other pre-order incentives yet being seen from GameStop or other US retailers. The following day, we also saw some adorable Animal Crossing themed Pro controllers from Power A that will be releasing in March ahead of New Horizons release. Now, I'd be willing to bet when we finally do get this next Nintendo Direct, we'll see some sort of Animal Crossing themed something. Whether that's a Pro controller or Joy-Con or maybe a Switch Lite, I think Nintendo would be crazy not to do something like that with how popular the series is among Nintendo fans. On Thursday, we got a release trailer for Rune Factory 4 Special, a farming dungeon crawling RPG that originally came to 3DS in 2012. The enhanced Switch version will be coming in February of this year and features new in-game cutscenes, colorful CG illustrations, and an updated opening sequence. Thursday, we also learned that Stardew Valley has crossed the 10 million mark across all platforms, which is just insane for an indie title, and even more impressive when you consider the game was developed by just one person. Now, I've talked about Stardew Valley before. If you're a fan of games like Harvest Moon, or if you can't hold out for Animal Crossing New Horizons and you haven't checked out Stardew Valley yet, you must. It's such a wonderful game, and 10 million people can't be wrong. On Friday, Square Enix announced that their sci-fi first-person puzzle game, The Turing Test, which originally came to Windows and Xbox One in August of 2016, would be making its way to Switch on February 7th. Now, I've never played The Turing Test before, but people do seem pretty excited about the announcement for the Switch version, and I was immediately reminded of Portal when I saw the trailer, so that's promising. And if this looks like something you'd be interested in, you won't have to wait very long as it's headed to Switch very soon. All right, that does it for this week's current Nintendo news. But before we go, it's time for 20 years ago today, where we take a look back at what was happening with Nintendo 20 years ago this week. Now, we're almost finally through January 2000, which has just been a terribly slow month for Nintendo news. And the beginning of February 2000 would be the time that we'd start seeing commercials airing for the Pokemon 2000 Stadium Tour, which was a series of events that were held across the US and Canada, promoting the release of Pokemon Stadium on the Nintendo 64. At the event, attendees could see a preview of Pokemon Stadium and receive a Mew for the Generation 1 Game Boy game, and using the new transfer pack, competitors were able to watch their best Pokemon from their favorite Game Boy game battle in full 3D on the Nintendo 64. Now, I loved digging up this commercial. It's such a time capsule and really a quintessential look at the year 2000 and what it was like for us gamers back then. And I'd be curious to know if anyone out there actually made it to any of these Pokemon 2000 Stadium Tour dates. There was actually a full East Coast and West Coast tour through the year 2000, so I'm sure some of you out there did visit the mall to catch them all. All right, if you stuck around through all that and like what you saw, please consider liking and subscribing. And until next time, have a great weekend, play some video games, clear those backlogs before Animal Crossing New Horizons gets here, and I'll see you next time.